Hey guys, welcome back to the official Beast Lab. I'm here with Scott Rodgers. This is the post game where we're going to get a little bit more gritty. We're going to talk about a few things. We're going to start today, Scott, talking about internet trolls. As a social media guy, we have experienced, you and I have been part of the generation that came before Instagram, where if you had a problem with somebody, you had to say it to their face, or you kept your mouth quiet, and then when you said it to their face, you had to physically deal with the consequences. You had to actually back up what you said. Now, I live in a life as a dad where some moron from Ohio could say something to my kid one day on Instagram and completely ruin his life. So, as somebody who, how do you approach your social media and the way that you handle just people in general, both positives and negatives?
So I'd say 70-30 clown it, right? I clown it 70%. I think people think I'm pretty serious about it, but 70% of it, I'm leaving and I'm going, oh, I gave a couple shots too. And I get mad at myself, right? Because sometimes I give into stuff that I probably shouldn't, but also, dude, it's fun for me. I'm not a guy that's very, I don't really hold the back. I don't have a filter. So for someone to come at me and say, I bet you this guy won't even respond, but I'm going to tell him he's a little bitch. Okay. Well, you're okay. You're a little bitch, right? Like, what do you mean, dude? Like, that's just not the reality of social media. Is a lot of people get to see what we've done, right? And they don't know what went into it. So that's fine. Nobody knows how we grew up. Nobody knows how you grew up, right? Nobody knows how I grew up. I mean, we could talk about it and they're like, yeah. Okay. I actually experienced this. And, I had my dad mushing me on a track in a rubber suit. Like, I had that happen. And that's for better or for worse. Whatever you agree, you disagree, but it happens. So I think a lot of people now are very, it's a sensitive time, but it's also like, dude, have a little fun, right? We're on social media. If you're taking this social media seriously all the time, you're crazy. You're absolutely, you got to get, because there's actual real life to be lived. I have to go to the gym. I have to go train. Like all the kids that I train, that the best thing I get, I was expecting you to be such a douche, like your social media. I was like, oh, that's a little bit of an asshole thing to say, but
Yeah.
But
I know you mean well.
I could see that. I could see how you would believe that. But once we can start getting into trenches and they see how passionate I'm doing the thing and how much I want to see them get better, that all goes to the wayside, right? And I think the kids, once they realize that I think a lot of kids don't realize how much coaching is, like good coaching. Good coaching is investing into somebody, right? Actually caring, like actually giving a shit if that kid goes out there. Like I got a text from a 12-year-old's dad the other day. I said, my kid got MVP of the game. It's all because of you. I went, it's not because of me. It's because he shows up every week and we've been doing the work. But those are great. Those are great examples. But then there's also, I know when a kid doesn't want to be there. I know when a kid's dad wants him to be there more than he wants to be there, right? Yeah. That bothers me because I knew we used lacrosse to get us to where we wanted to go as an accelerator, not just, oh man, look, I'm great at lacrosse, sick, but I don't really want to do anything to earn it. No, I earned my scholarship. I got myself out of a public school, a small public school in Long Island, out of a blue collar town called Levittown, New York. I got myself out of there and went to the University of Notre Dame. I take a lot of pride in that because no one else has done it. And for me, that is like the chip on my shoulder piece, but also that's the stuff I did when nobody was watching. And that's the stuff I did when nobody was there. So I hate getting trolled on work ethic because it's very ignorant. That's all. It's very ignorant.
It is ignorant. And I think the reason kids, in my opinion, kids being trolls on Instagram is this generation's version of egging a house, right? I want to get a reaction out of this person. I know I'm not supposed to do this, so I'm going to do it. And when it first used to happen, it would bother me because I'm used to someone saying something and meaning it in front of you, right? So I basically saw them as the same thing, which they're not. And then as I've gotten older, lacrosse Twitter, Jesus Christ, right? Lacrosse Twitter, holy shit.
Yeah, I'm off that Twitter circle.
Yeah, so like I'm on Twitter because one, it helps me interact with coaches and kind of keep a pulse on the sport. I still do stuff with PLL and I try to, analyze the face-offs because I think a lot of adults are on there. But most of the time, there are adults that haven't grown up that want to be trolls too because they think it's funny and they don't have better time on their hands. And always in lacrosse Twitter, the trolls are Bill Johnson under, random picture of Alf. And then like in his bio, it's like, tells it how it is. Everyone's too soft in this world. 2 followers, right? So Bill Johnson, anonymous lacrosse account, will comment on me and you until every day for 3 years, screaming into the abyss, right? Claiming that they hate our guts. But what do we know about adult trolls? They're really just the world's biggest fanboys. Your obsession with us. You want me to respond to you so badly that you'll say anything. So how do I treat you? I never respond to you. And you sit there and you pout and you scream and you cry over and over again on Twitter. And what I'm giving you is silence, and that fire has no oxygen. No one's listening to you. The best thing that could happen for you is that I retweet it or I quote tweet it and say something back at you. Heh. Okay, well, guess what? Now you just got 70 more followers, which is what you want. You got your attention, little boy.
Yeah.
I don't, so for me, it's like, I just let that fire die out. Now, that actually is less forgivable to me than kids. Kids don't know any better.
A grown adult. I mean, but my theory, a little different, right? I know I go out to people, I put them up there, I say, I'll just put you up there and let the people eat you up, right? And I have a good fan base where my loyal fans are very, 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 very good to me. But I also have people that hate me. So when I get those people that really say some crazy stuff, I like to just be like, can you believe this comment, right? Because I think people don't, I like to teach people from, would you say this if everyone knew what you were saying? Would you say that? Or would you say just because you want me, you want to jab at me, you want to jab at my self-esteem, you want to jab at my day, you want to make the biggest thing for me is, why would I want to make someone else's day horrible? And and there's a piece to it that you have that you said is good, and I should probably do more of it, but it's, if you don't feed oxygen to that flame, it dies. It does die, but it dies, and I still go to the gym, and I'm a human being. And for me, you could say words, people could say it's just words. All right, say enough words. They're gonna get through your I call it my wall of my shield. My shield's not taking it all day. And eventually I give in. And for me, I do overreact for sure. But I also think there's a value because I think kids, and I go opposite. I like to talk to kids. Like some kid yesterday, he was like, well, when are we going to spar? And I was like, because I posted a box of it, I was hammering his back. I look at it, I'm like, I hope it's a grown man. I really do. I hope it's a grown man. It was a 12-year-old kid, right?
12-year-old kid that you could throw into the ocean.
I'm like, dude, all right, so now if I say anything, I got some dad saying, oh, you're going to hit a kid. I'm like, no, I'm not going to hit a kid. But somebody taught this kid it was okay, right, to disrespect somebody.
Speak to an adult. Speak to an adult like that.
But it's not anonymous. What these kids don't realize,
they're idiots.
That's still your name.
So
that's
dumb.
Your name.
And you know what? Every lacrosse kid has his highlight link, all of his contact info, Garden City 2025. Hey, Billy, I could show up at your house now, and I could tell your dad, you failed as a father because this is what your kid does with his time.
And that's it. That's not a terrible thing to say, Greg. That's not. I don't think that's. And people get mad at me, right? They're like,
I'll kick Jackson right out of this house if you ever did that.
I did that to some guy that's done it at an accomplished level, and I'm not here to boost myself. You know me. I'm not like a egomaniac.
No, you're not. And here's, at the end of the day, I don't care what you've accomplished. You're a 34-year-old man. Right. My son shouldn't talk to an adult like that. If you can't talk to an adult like that in person, then don't go on. If I find out you're doing that, man, oh God, Oh
dad
my
would change
God.
everything, too.
My dad would literally, that's like me. If I went up to, I was a huge fan of Greg Catrano growing up. And if I knew Greg Catrano would never see me after a game, or maybe I never called him, or I didn't get, well, we're pretty good about it in pro lacrosse, but we sign a lot of stuff.
Pro lacrosse players, for the most part, are phenomenal.
We wait, right? We do I love the fans. But
Hours after games to sign autographs.
you miss people, and you might miss them. You might miss them again. And the fact is, that kid never got your attention. All right. So that kid now that is a fan of yours is gonna try to find a way to get you to acknowledge. And now, and I've done this before, where I'm so perplexed by this whole interaction still. Yeah, I've told you this numerous times. The kid chirps me, takes my soul, and then I literally go, "Fuck out of here, kid." And then the kid's like, dude, he responded. I'm like, yo, I'm pissed. This isn't a great interaction. Like, this isn't what you should have thrived to get out of your.
But that's the point, right? Is trolls are essentially just fanboys that don't know how to express themselves. And I will go to my grave with this. Like I will die on this hill that the more you are going into my DMs, which, by the way, folks, don't check them anyway. I'll check them once every 2 months, just in case a Face Off Academy parent hates emailing, which drives me nuts, and wants to DM me. Okay. But there are so many unread DMs that you see, like, the first couple words. You know what, Stan? I'm going to leave you on unread, man. And I'm going to let you fanboy me and freak out and do all your stuff because you want my attention so bad that you're willing to be a dick about it. But you're right. That's sometimes you run in between I got to teach this kid a lesson, man. And it's not worth my time. That is a struggle that we have, for sure.
It's a struggle because for us, I know how much you value your father, and I value my father, very, very highly. We talk like 4 times a day. It's like, I was raised to respect people. Like, I was a little nerdy fat kid growing up. I got bullied, right? My dad was always like, just one day you're gonna have to stand up for yourself the old school way. I did it literally at the we were literally, it sounds out of a movie, handball, recess courts, middle school. It was like, this is the time. And that's what I did. And then, you know what? I had to prove myself, not talk my way out of it with, because I never addressed the problem. I think a lot of these kids never address the problem, right? Mm. They never address that problem. They don't want to be uncool in front of their friends and stuff. So what they do is they harness all this negative anger. They're pissed, right? They're pissed. They have things going on. And I'm very conscious of the kids probably getting, that's the nastiest age. Like, the hierarchy in that middle school age. Kids are making fun of other kids. Oh, dude, they're brutal. So, there's a piece of me that kind of understands that kid's going through some stuff, but there's a piece of me that's like, my dad always taught me, like, be respectful. Like, just be nice. Like, I'm a guy that's playing at a professional level, and, like, you're telling me you're better than me, and that's fine, I guess. But how would you say that rationally without being kind of an idiot?
Well, right? It's like arguing. You wouldn't argue with a toddler, and you wouldn't argue with somebody who is completely mentally deficient. And I always had the belief that I'm not going to argue with you about something unless I believe that we are intellectual equals, right? So I
think me and you've got this debate a few times.
So like when I was like 2015. League MVP, breaking all these records. People are like, oh, well, my face-off coach would totally kill you. I'm like, the guy I just went 30 for 35 against? You know what? You need to believe that. And I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to even respond. Because why would I have to argue with you?
The competitive piece of being of what we've done for so long is hard to fight that little, I call it like the little demon, where he's like, Don't give in. And then, you know what, man? Every once in a while.
Well, I think what helps me these days, one, having kids really knocks your give a shit meter down. Yeah. Like, as soon as Jax popped out, I remember being like, what the hell why was I mad about that thing last week? Who gives a shit?
I might just adopt a kid just so I have to.
Yeah, just adopt just adopt a whole bunch of kids. Just go totally Angelina and just grab like 4 kids. I think for me, you liking me, how does it affect me, right? If Scott Rodgers has a problem with me, Scott Rodgers is one of my very good friends, I would have to address that and find out why. Little Ronnie in Minnesota, who messages and says, I'm not a really good face-off guy, has no effect on my family, my wallet, my life. You know, I'm at a point now where I'm finished my career. I'm doing this new venture to try to bring people together. Face-Off Academy. Dude, little Ronnie has no effect on me, man. So I think,
keyword, though, Greg, the key word here is you're doing it to bring people together, but also the key word is you don't need to do this. And
Yeah,
you're
that is a key
you're doing
word.
it because you want to be an ambassador and bring this platform together. And I think that's where selfishly some of us in our profession like to worry about the dollar bills and the dollar signs. That's, you have to hustle, and it's one of the most unique sports in the world where we can make a lot of money doing camps and clinics, but we have to, you know, there's a brand, and then there's when you build a brand. I built a brand, right? But I've built a brand and I've lost a lot of followers too at times because I'm very authentic to what I am. And people think maybe he'll change. Yeah, I'll change if I want to change. Like, right? I'm not going to change because you want me to change, so you come to my camp.
Yeah.
That's the difference. These kids they want me to be a certain way, and then they'll come.
no, you come if what I am works for you, right? I'm going to be, I think people who don't know Scott very well, if you watch lacrosse or whatever, the reason Scott and I are very good friends is not because we both lift. It's not because we both played lacrosse. Those things happen to help us meet each other. The reason we get along is because Scott is one of the more genuine people I've ever met. Scott is very selfless. Okay, I'm just going to put you up on a pedestal for a second because you and I have had deep talks. People don't understand how psychologically astute you are. You understand your own self and what issues you deal with. You understand where people are coming from. And the only part people want to pay attention to a lot of the times is the big, loud, angry guy in between the pipes. And I think as athletes, when we walk away from our sport, the only thing we want is for people to respect the effort we gave to be as good as we were, and to respect the fact that we have more layers than just the guy you saw on television.
Well, I appreciate everything you said there, but the big thing, and I know this for a fact between you and I, is when we played, you know, I think we go into locker rooms and we have this predetermined, this guy, social media guy, meathead. And then every team I've ever been on, right, I'm like, I'm the guy patting guys on the butt, hugging them after goals, and we're good teammates. And that's what I've always strived to make sure. If this monster is what they want, I'm going to give you a different monster that you would never see coming. And I love my teammates and I love the sport. People don't get to see that. It's very much fogged because of what I do on the other side. But to say like I have to change that would be me being not myself. And yeah, that's not it. Like I could do both. I could be very blunt and very outspoken and very unfiltered and funny at times and piss you off at times. But when I get in that locker room, those guys know. And then John Crawley is one of my good friends that play with the Atlas. Best thing, I got released from the Atlas, and I had individual texts, not my team group that just usually like bounces somebody out of there when you get traded or released or whatever. I had individual texts from all these guys saying, "Dude, you're one of my best teammates. I love that. I miss you." Nobody sees that. Nobody would believe it, to be completely honest. But for me, I know it, right? And I have it. And it's like, that's all that matters, right? That's all that matters.
Yeah, my dad said something when I was younger. He said, the only thing that matters is that you can look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day and be happy about what you see. And you're the only person who knows truly who you are. Every team I've played on at the professional level, every season, somebody on the team at some point would come up to me, usually like after a game when you're having beers or whatever, and say, "You're nothing like I thought you were." And I know every time they meant well, but every time they would say it to me. Jerry Raganese not only is my partner with Face-Off Academy, he's one of my better friends, and he's also Unfortunately, when he was playing with me for the Lizards, he was like a therapist for me. Because every time it would happen, I'd be like, what do they think about me? What do I do that makes them think I'm anything other than just the face-off guy who works really hard and cheers for everybody? I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. It used to drive me nuts.
It's not, and I was probably a culprit of this early in my career, where I definitely was like, there's no way, right? There's no way Greg could be, he's not. Is he really like this good of a guy? And that's not, I'm not trying to be a booch, because the way you handle yourself off the field, the way you handle yourself on the field, right? That's valiant stuff. But it's like there's something, right? There's something wrong. There ain't nothing wrong. I think that's the problem. Is a lot of people like to say this can't be it. It's just not realistic.
People need to believe there's something wrong with you. People used to ask me all the time, like, "Oh, Rob Pennell, he's a jerk, isn't he? Why do you need to believe?" Rob Pennell is a great dude, and he was an awesome teammate. Paul Rabel, he's kind of a douche, isn't he? No, actually, Paul is one of the most introspective people I know, and that's why I got along with him so well. And people need to believe. They need it. First, I think there's phases for fandom, right? They see you come up, and they're like, oh, like, go get him, guy. Like, good for this guy. Then you become the guy. And everyone for like 10 seconds is like, oh, he's awesome. At the 11th second, they're looking for, okay, but what is he? There's got to be something wrong with this guy. And then they start looking, who's the next guy? Oh, this guy's going to be better than him. This guy's going to be better than him.
I hope he's better.
Yeah, and that's why I remember telling Trevor, like Trevor and I bonded a lot, because over his entire college career, Trevor's the only guy who's ever gone over 50% or hasn't gone under 50% in every game of his entire college career. His first year, everyone was like, Trevor! Then after his second year, everyone's like, oh, someone beat this guy. Now as a pro, if he goes under 50%, everyone's like, oh, he's not the guy anymore. This is the guy. And this guy thinks he's the guy now. But guess what? Tomorrow, they're going to be wishing for your demise. That's just the way American sports, at least, are. And I think people are always looking for that thing. They need there to be something wrong with you.
I know you're a fan of the Marvel and the DC stuff, and I am too. And here's the thing: they always say, "What's that quote?" It's like, "You could be if you stay around long enough, you'll see yourself be the hero, and then you'll see yourself turn into a villain." Right? And I've been there so long in this 13, 12-year space where people are like, "He's the man. He's an anomaly. He's look at his size. Oh my God, he's he can speak." And and then it turns into, well, he talks too much. He doesn't play good enough. And then it's like, so you go hero, villain, and it's all about the perception. It could be the day, It's like, but that's the struggle I've had personally. Is I want to be liked. I do, like every human being longs to be liked, and I do like. To my closest friends, I'm very well loved, and I love them, and that's great. But I don't know why, me personally, I still have this thing where I go into a room, I know what people are thinking about me, because like you said earlier, I'm pretty self-aware. Well, I went to the sales training, I started a new job, and obviously I'm fully tattooed, I'm bald, right? I'm a big guy, and I go into corporate sales training. And they're like, here's the next athlete. Here he is. And I'm like, I felt it, right? It felt like the first day of school, man. I walk in, I'm like, all right. I literally, this is me. And this is the why you know me. I walk in, I go, let's just address this right away, everyone. And everyone's like, I was like, I know you think I'm a dumb meathead. I am going to do very well in this job because I'm going to outwork everyone. And that is exactly how I went into the first day of sales training. And I'm out the other end. And yes, have I tailored a couple things? Sure. But my core values have stayed. I haven't changed. I actually got more tattoos, right? And it's this perception thing of people is you can't judge a book by its cover. And I hate that term because it's so cliche, but it is so true, man. It's so true. And I'm not asking for people to like me. I don't want you to like me if you don't like me. I'm telling you, why don't we talk? And most of the people say, man, you'd be a cool guy to have a beer with. I was like, yeah, I'm not. What do you think I was going to be like? Well, what do you think? And then they tell me, and I get disappointed that that's what they think because I want to please everyone. But you know what, man? It's just at 34, I've come to terms with a couple things, and I used to get really jacked up. Like, I want to change this guy's mind. You cannot make everybody happy. It's impossible. It's honestly impossible.
You can't change people's minds. And at the end of the day, the only problem people have, if they have an issue with you and they don't know you, the only problem they have is that you're not them. That's it. You're not them, and there's nothing you can do to be them. So why bother? It doesn't matter. It's just the way it is. But I think when you approach, the way you approach your life, the way you approach your training, I think all of it is awesome. And when people actually take the time to get to know you, to see what you're actually, not hear you, but listen to you. When people actually listen to the messages that you're conveying, both as a trainer and as an athlete, I think people can take a lot from what you say. While we're here on the post game, why don't you give us your social handles real quick so people can find you?
Yeah, Scotty Raj 42 on IG. That's my big platform. I'm off the Twitter sphere, so IG. I go from my lifestyle, a couple friends. Well, I get like probably 300 likes, and I could post a lacrosse stick and a strung goalie head for 3,000 likes. So whenever you want to come check it out, come check it out. But like I said, it's pretty me. It's pretty raw, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Well, Scotty, thanks for making it official today, man. I'm really excited to have you on here. I appreciate it, and I wish you the best, brother.
Thanks, brother.